All right, we are live. Little NFL weekly discussion and general just Q&A with everything that's going on. We are working on a couple of things behind the scenes, so things will be in a good way. By the way, just trying to work on the presentation, if you will, from afar, and we're going to just gradually, I would say, get better as time goes on. So this is definitely something that I'm looking forward to, and I want to let's take a look here. All right, first question: how am I doing? That's a good question. I'm doing well, and I want to. We're just gonna be trying a couple of things here as things go on, and I think we should be able to. All right. Anyway, let's keep it rolling here. What's up? I'm working on one thing here, and we are in the midst of getting everything rolling. So I promise once everything's good, it's going to be good. But Chargers versus Vikings, who do I have tomorrow? Probably the Chargers, man, if I'm just being honest. It's been brutal out here with Carson Wentz as the starting quarterback. And I wouldn't say I recommend going through the Carson Wentz experience, especially in the big 2025. So it's I've had better days. I'll just leave it like that. But there's a lot of things going on right now, just across the league. Tua gave his weekly bit, if you will, with his press conference. He said that one of the reasons Jalen Waddle wasn't targeted as much as he probably should have been this past week was the fact that he didn't see him. So that's obviously not good. If your starting quarterback is out here saying, "Hey, I legitimately can't see my players," and Tua is obviously, he's very limited as it is. So there's obviously some questions there, and then everything is not going well for the Dolphins right this second. What's good? What do I think of the Broncos? I think the Broncos are a very solid team. It's just what frustrates me with the Broncos is, and I think this is a very fair frustration to have with the Broncos, is you never know which team you're going to get. And I want to choose my words wisely here, because I'm not trying to diminish the Broncos, right? That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm not out here to hate the Broncos. That's not what I'm trying to say. But what I am trying to say is I don't think that that happens against a good team. I don't think that that's going to happen against a good team with what they did against the Giants on Sunday. So I wish the best for him. I think there's times that even Broncos fans were definitely frustrated with how the game was on Sunday, obviously. But there's also a factor of, does that happen if we played the Chiefs type thing? So let's keep it going here. All right. Now I want to, like I said, I am trying to work on one thing as this is going live. I want to be able to post comments on post comments live as we are going through this. So we're working on this, and this is going to be something that is going to definitely get better with over time, and I'll just kind of leave it like that. But let's see if we can go through this and kind of go through it together. Although it will be, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this, but tonight's not going to be the night that we figure this out. I'll just leave it like that. Anyway, all right. People are dogging on the Seahawks for 4 turnovers, which is fine, but you also can't say the Texans are the best defense and then say Seattle is bad for having 4 turnovers. So the one thing that I would dog the Seahawks legitimately for is you are in a position against you were in an actual position against the Texans to be able to go up 3 scores, and then you willingly, for whatever reason, decided to, hey, let's just go ahead and have Cooper Kupp throw a pass in a situation you didn't need to. And look, I'm not against trick plays. I don't want this to come across as a boomer take and be like, oh, hey, by the way, never try a flea flicker, never try, a double reverse, or never try there's teams that'll do the reverse, and then they'll have a reverse into a flea flicker. So they'll do a halfback pitch, and then the receiver will come back, and then they'll toss back to the quarterback. So I don't want this to come across like, oh, I'm prude. I'm against, not modification, but the modernization, there we go, of plays, and then to basically say, oh yeah, I'm going to praise it when it's good and then criticize it when it's bad. That's not what I'm saying. But in that specific situation, that was one I didn't understand, and that was one where I was just kind of like, what are we doing? So that was one that it is what it is. All right, let's keep it going here. All right. Hey, brother. Hope all is well from Australia. That's very humbling. I do appreciate that. And I actually, right now, believe it or not, I do have a friend in real life that is in Australia. So that's pretty cool. He's on the, what is it? He's in it's like the Gold Coast, I think is what it's called, is where he is. So that's pretty cool. And Australia, obviously an awesome country, or at least it looks awesome to visit. Kubiak should probably stop with the trick plays since they were clearly not working. I would also agree based on what we saw. Do you wish the Vikings kept Darnold? Probably going to do a video entirely on that at some point. And I'll just kind of just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. Short answer, I would say no, but it's I mean, look, I don't want to, I hate to, this it's a whole conversation because it's not a 10-second answer. There's a lot of nuance that needs to be within it, and I'll just kind of leave it like that. But I would say short answer, no, but there's a couple of reasons why. But anyway, Jonathan, appreciate the sticker super chat. I'm not sure what that is, but I do appreciate it. I appreciate the 99-cent sticker-ish. I don't think it's technically a super chat. Whatever. Look, I appreciate it. That's all that matters. But if you do leave a comment, Jonathan, let me know. I'll obviously reply. So let's keep it going here. All right. I just don't know why you take the ball out of Sam's hands. Yes, that's regarding. So this is not the conversation with the Vikings. No, this is back to the trick play on Monday night. Yeah, you're up 14-0. I don't trust the Texans offense to routinely put up 21 points, especially against a Mike McDonald defense. I would have foot on the throat, went for the kill. I thought that was kind of getting way too cute with it. So I'm very much with you on that one. And that was, like I said, the one that I did not understand. All right. Let's keep it going here. Do I think the Panthers can beat the Bills by any chance? Okay, so that's from Jonathan. And like I said, I do appreciate the super chat. And, I mean, there's a chance, yes. I'm not going to, again, act like there's zero chance of that. But I would choose, and I would imagine a lot of other people feel this way as well, that they're probably going to choose the Bills to win that game. So I feel like it shouldn't be too crazy of a take, but that's kind of where I stand on that one. All right, I had the same reaction as well. That was clear they don't trust the run blocking. Hoping John makes a play for a right guard. Broncos or Cowboys? That's from Kaiser Gordon, not to be confused with Bears corner Kyler Gordon. I would say, man, I feel like I would go Cowboys. The thing is that's such a toss-up. I trust Dak more than I trust the Broncos offense because the Broncos offense kind of fell asleep for 3/4 of that game. And there were a lot of people within that game that were basically saying, hey, we're not going to go anywhere without Sean Payton, or with Sean Payton as the play caller. We need Davis Webb to be the play caller. And yeah, it was a very, very, not complex conversation. That's not what I'm looking for, but it was a very reactionary time. All right. Can I explain what Teddy Bridgewater's teeth injury is? Going to be honest, I don't know. I'll just be direct. I have no idea. Teddy is the GOAT, though. Like, there's no look, Teddy's the GOAT. There will be no Theodore Bridgewater II slander. I'll just say this. Look, Teddy is my guy, and I will also say the fact that Teddy was he was my guy. We drafted him when I was in high school, and he was awesome. I mean, he's also, obviously with what happened to Teddy was very, very sad, obviously with the big injury that he had. And it was, yeah, look, Teddy's my guy. I would do anything for my guy, Teddy. I'll just kind of leave it at that. All right. We have a super chat here from my pet bearded dragon. Appreciate it. After the Lions loss, you said you lost hope in the Bears or something along those lines. Are you back in after the defensive turnaround / win streak. So for clarification, 2 games into an era, it was more of a, if we don't see turnaround in the next couple of games, this could get extremely ugly fast. I mean, if you're 2 games into the season, look, last year the Saints put up 91 total points in the first 2 games. They finished with a top 10 draft pick. So within the first couple of weeks of every year, you have to be somewhat reactionary. Now, again, I didn't think the Saints were going to go to the Super Bowl last year. There were people that legitimately did. If you go back to the comment section of those, the week 2 recap from last year, I never would have said 2 games into the Ben Johnson era that, man, this team is 100% done. But it was definitely like, hey, if we get to where we are now, mid-October, and the Bears are 1-6, 2-5, the most they put up in a game is 18 points, that would have been bad. Now, to answer the question more, am I back in after the defensive turnaround / win streak? Yes. I mean, you got to let a season marinate a little bit. You got to let a season, go through the. You got to let it go a little bit. But there was definitely, like, if this does not work out, we're having a tough conversation. All right. Cody Stewart, appreciate the super chat. Bo Nix is suffering from a lot of receiver drops. He is. And his receivers also are not the best, in my personal opinion. Don't think that should be a hot take. But I think there's also times with Bo that's, I would say, are incredibly frustrating that don't necessarily need to be frustrating. And I think there's times where Bo should really just kind of take what's in front of him, and I don't think he does at times. But that's just me. All right. Let's see. How tough of a situation are the Cardinals in at this point? Does Kyler get traded this offseason / draft night? So with the Cardinals, look, I'm going to be honest. I've said this before. I don't think that Jonathan Gannon is going to be the long-term guy. I don't. And I just don't think he's going to be the fit for what the Cardinals are going to be in the long run. I think that they are in a situation right now where I don't want to say find ways to lose games, but the Titans would be a good example of that, but they don't win games that they should. Ironically, the Titans game would also be that. But my point is the Cardinals are not a bad team. They're not a bad roster. And they're 2-5 right now. If memory serves correct, I'm going to say all 5 losses are by a combined 13 points. They lose to the Titans by 1. They lose to the 49ers led by Mac Jones by 1. In a game they had a safety, or they forced a safety with a couple of minutes left to play. In a game that, I mean, look, if we're being honest, I think other coaches win that game. So, if you don't lose that game to the Titans, you don't lose that game to the 49ers, how different is the Cardinals season right now, 2-5 versus 4-3? I would say very. But, so to go back to this with the Cardinals, to go back to the question with, how tough of a situation are they in? I think Monty Ossenfort, the GM, is fine. And I think he's done a solid job, all things considered, in terms of bringing in talent. But there's parts of it from a team building standpoint where you want to have everybody on the right page. You don't want a GM entering year 4 and a head coach in year 1, and then who knows what they're going to do at quarterback, because Kyler's also a quarterback where, I mean, you look around the NFL right now, there's a lot of bad quarterback play. So it's a tough situation for the Cardinals, and I feel like things would get worse before they would get better. So I would say 7 out of 10, I guess, screwed in that sense. But it's, I mean, they're also in a really tough division. So, all right. Are the Vikings soft benching JJ? No, they're not. They're not. That conversation is honestly just, I'm just done with that conversation. Like the soft benching part, not JJ, but the soft benching part. All right. Salah just meant to be a DC. I wouldn't mind seeing Salah get an actual chance without Woody Johnson as his team's owner and give him an actual chance to, not have your team owner come out and say that your quarterback needs to be able to complete passes. I know that obviously didn't happen under Salah, and that happened this week with Justin Fields and with Aaron Glenn. But that's not a good situation. Your chair position in front of the analysis sign is unfortunate. It is when I go like that, right there. That is unfortunate when I go, and then when I move my head, oh wait, sorry. When I put my head right there. That is unfortunate. All right. Thoughts on Dart being very overrated? I mean, look, he's having a lot of success for a young player, or for a first-year quarterback, youngest quarterback in the NFL. Again, you have to be somewhat reactionary on a week-by-week basis with things that are going on. Jackson Dart is playing really well, all things considered. He did have the one bad interception against Denver. That was bad, but I've been really impressed with what I've seen from Jackson Dart. All right. I feel like JJ is available, but he sucks. No comment. Let's see here. Vikings trade for AR mid-season competition between JJ and AR. All right. Dart beating my Eagles took years off my life. Oh, man. Oh, it took years off your life? I would say this. You poor baby. You know what, man? It would really stink if the Vikings won the Super Bowl this year. Obviously, you guys know I'm a Vikings fan. It'd be real unfortunate if they won a Super Bowl this year, and then, oh no, next year Caleb Williams puts up 400 yards and 4 touchdowns against the Vikings. I would be horrified if that happened. I get what you're saying, though. I really do. But it is funny to see like a team coming off a Super Bowl fall to 4-2, not 0-7, not 2-5, but fall to 4-2 with their second loss in 5 days, and then have your quarterback have a perfect passer rating, go 300 yards, 3 touchdowns the next game. It is funny, though. And obviously you didn't know the Jalen Hurts part against the Vikings would happen during that game. I get it, though. But it is funny. Lonnie, appreciate the super chat. Is it an overreaction just to expect the Chiefs to win the AFC with every season until Mahomes retires? So, yes, every season, yes. But, it looks like they're going to this year. Look, I don't want to disrespect what the Colts are doing, what the Patriots are doing. I'm just kind of asking this question. I'm thinking out loud. When it comes hell or high water, are you choosing Daniel Jones and the Colts? Daniel Jones having a great year. Jonathan Taylor having an MVP caliber year from the running back position. Obviously, he's not going to win it because he's a running back, which is not fair to Jonathan Taylor. But are you going to choose the Colts led by Daniel Jones over the Patrick Mahomes-led Chiefs with the season on the line? Yes or no? Not yeah, but, not no, but, just simply yes or no. I'm not. I would choose the Chiefs every time. No disrespect. And then kind of the same thing applies to Drake May, at least this early in his career. All right, let's keep it going here. Let's see here. Does it make me mad that the Vikings struggle to develop quarterbacks? So I don't know how to take that, because right now we're in a situation where Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, well, Daniel Jones was a practice squad, so I don't really include him. But Daniel Jones having a hell of a year. I don't want that to be disrespect to DJ, because he's having a great year, but he was on the practice squad last year, so how much of his success can you attribute to the Vikings for everything he's done this year when he was on the practice squad? Anyway, look, whenever you look at the quarterbacks that they've had, Teddy Bridgewater was the last first rounder. And by the way, Teddy Bridgewater, Pro Bowler, 2015 Pro Bowler. Look it up if you don't believe me. He was a Pro Bowler. So I would say the Pro Bowl quarterback is developing well. And don't look at the fact that he only threw 14 touchdowns and was a Pro Bowler. But, it's just been a tough go of it forever, honestly. Christian Ponder was, that class outside of Cam Newton was not good. Blaine Gabbert, Jake Locker, Christian Ponder. Okay? That's not good. Then you select Teddy. In that class, the quarterbacks were Blake Bortles, Johnny Manziel, Teddy. Derek Carr was also there. How would he contribute to the developing conversation? And then JJ, we're 8 quarters into his career. I'm not having that conversation right now. But does it make me mad? It would be cool to draft a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes or a Lamar Jackson and then have that guy be my guy for 10 years. Yeah. So I guess I wouldn't say it makes me mad. That's actually a good question. That's actually a really good question. I would say it's just like chalk it up to the game. Just happens. Like, what am I getting? I'm not out there at practice. Not that I know more than NFL coaches, but just chalk it up to the game. Browns fans, I'm sure, would feel the same way. All right. Keon, appreciate it. As an analyst, what do you think the Falcons need? I have some thoughts on And we're only a couple of starts into his career, but I do have some thoughts on the inconsistencies they have at the quarterback position. But with the Falcons, the offensive line was always going to be difficult this year with Caleb McGarry going down before the season started. So that was always going to be, I mean, that's a hill to overcome or a hill to climb before the season even starts, right? So that's tough. I would also say your corners could be better outside of A.J. Terrell. And I would say corners, I would say a legit number one pass rusher, though James Pierce he's been hot and cold this year. But when he's hot, he's scorching hot. Probably just time to develop. Rukororo has looked better at times. I mean, the Falcons are, in a lot of ways, a young team. I mean, they have Jake Matthews, who's older, of course. David Onyemata's older, of course. But I would say generally they're a young team. So I would honestly say in some ways time to develop. But I do appreciate the super chat, Keon. Super Pony, appreciate it. He says Colts could have a busy night at the year-end awards. You're 100% right. Shane Steichen, Coach of the Year, definitely. JT, OPOY, Tyler Warren, OROY. Absolutely could. Although I will say, unfortunately, what is unfortunate right now for Tyler Warren, if things continue, there's a good chance that Jackson Dart would win the award if things continue the way they are. And that's obviously not Tyler Warren's slander. That's just how it goes. But I agree with you, by the way. All right. Falcons need coaching. That definitely wouldn't hurt. Botsy says I skipped your super chat. I did. Botsy, apologize. Love the vid show. Are you apologies. I got you. Love the videos. Are you a Vikings fan in Maryland? I am. Yes, sir, I am. Shout out Maryland. Definitely, like I said, definitely top 5 state, without a doubt. I mean, come on. We have everything in Maryland. Definitely a top 5 state. And by the way, also Emeka Ibuka, yes, he's definitely in the Rookie of the Year conversation. Yes. Quinshon Judkins also in the Rookie of the Year conversation. Yes. All right. Scouty, appreciate it. What is the Panthers' ceiling? What will it take for them to be a contender? I'm going to be honest. I'm going to say the Panthers' ceiling is probably a wild card round exit. For them to be a contender, it's going to take consistency. That's obviously one of the big ones. I mean, you can't show up, right? Beat the Falcons 30-0 and then get beat 42-13 by the Patriots. Yeah, I'm sorry. I mean, you can't do that. And then, look, there's a point where there's a discussion to be had about, being critical about a team and then just talking casually about a team, right? Or just thinking out loud about a team. With the Panthers, you beat the Jets 13-6 on the road, your first road win of the year. But did you really look good in that game? I mean, did you really think, hey man, you know what? We play the Bills this week at home. We're gonna beat the Bills. You have the Bills coming off their bye. And Carolina needs to be a more consistent team to be a contender. I mean, you can't have Jekyll and Hyde. You can't be a great team at home, and they may beat the Bills, although, like I said, I would personally choose the Bills coming off a bye, but you need to be a more consistent team. Because when they're good and they're on, I'm not going to act like they're Super Bowl champions, but they are a very solid team. Maryland, a top 5 state, said nobody ever. I promise you haven't been here. Maryland is it's awesome. All right, let's hear. What's up, AK? How we doing? As an Ohioan, I do really like Maryland. Thank you. And by the way, Ohio should not get as much slander as it does. If we're keeping it a buck, Ohio should definitely not get as much slander as it does. All right. What should the Colts trade for Trey? I would say I'd probably say start with the second and see if you can start with the second and go from there. I wouldn't want to give up a first for Trey at this point in his career. But the Colts do need pass rush, and the Colts are at a point where they're a play away from being 7-0. I mean, you can't sit here and if you are Chris Ballard, the Colts GM, you cannot sit here and say, all right, well, hey, Daniel Jones is going to revert to Daniel Jones at some point. You have to act like this is a Super Bowl year, and it is based on what we've seen from the Colts so far. So you got to go get Trey Hendrickson. You have to have either pass rush or an improvement in the secondary, and to kind of help each other out. Obviously, a good pass rush means less time for the secondary to cover, And getting a good pass rusher at the deadline is a lot easier than getting a good corner at the deadline. So I would say a pass rusher. All right. Why do I look like a blonde white guy from Retro Bowl? If you know, you know. Is that a compliment? Hopefully. I don't know. All right. Jersey clears Maryland, not close. I don't want to get into the state debates, but what I will say, there's some good gabagool up in North Jersey, if you will. All right. Who do I think could land Hendrickson at the deadline realistically? So I did mention a couple of, or not mention rather, I saw a couple comments about how could you not include the 49ers in the biggest winners video this past week. The 49ers were awesome in week 7. It was nothing personal. It's just Monday mornings. I'm trying to crank the video out and I I included the Broncos for a 33-point comeback win. I included the Bengals for keeping their season alive. The 49ers were definitely week 7 winners. And the 49ers, based on the game they played and based on how Bob Saleh's coached the defense so far, I mean, it's always going to be a hill to climb with Nick Bosa and Fred Warner out, but they should definitely go after Trey Hendrickson. So, let's see here. Been to Maryland. It was all right. We were only in Baltimore. I promise I don't want to slander Baltimore. I'll leave it at that. But there's a lot more to this. There's a lot more to the state. Nick, appreciate it. Hey, G, what are your thoughts on CJ Stroud? Firmly believe he's our guy. Not saying he's playing great, but I get frustrated hearing others say move on. You can look. This is CJ Stroud I could actually talk about for like 10 minutes because there's a lot of context within everything. And context is key in every situation around the NFL. CJ Stroud right now. Who is taking that team to the Super Bowl? Take CJ Stroud out of the equation. Who's taking that team to the Super Bowl right now? I don't think it's anybody. Because the offensive line has been horrendous. The run game, largely outside of a game and a half, has been horrendous. I mean, they're splitting time between Nick Chubb in 2025 and Woody Marks. And Woody Marks did have the one good game, by the way. He really did. But CJ Stroud is in his 3rd year. He had a really good rookie season. He had a better year than the stat sheet would show last year. And we're at a point with CJ Stroud where I would say in some ways the Texans are, I don't know if failing him is the right word, but because failing is a strong word, but they're certainly not maximizing what he can do. They're certainly not, hey, CJ, here's this, go make this happen. It's a tough situation. CJ's you got to keep rolling with it. Why? Even if you move on from CJ Stroud, who are you going with? Now there is some frustration to be had from CJ Stroud himself, where he, after the rookie season, he did like a list on his IG story of top 5 quarterbacks right now. It was like Pat, Joe, Lamar, himself, and then Josh Allen 5. I might have messed 2 and 3 up. It might have been Lamar, Joe, Lamar, whatever. But you don't want your franchise quarterback posting those types of things. You don't want your quarterback, getting into it with other people on social media. So, and then engaging in that stuff. But he hasn't been exactly maximized for success. And I don't think anybody realistically is saying move on from CJ Stroud. Vikings fan in Maryland as well. Pick the other purple team to be different in 5th grade. That's what's up. That is what's up. All right. Are the Ravens done this season? Honestly, I would say no, because their schedule is not that bad coming out of their bye. So I would say no. But, all right. Oh, we have another super chat here from Blake. Appreciate it. DJ Lagway reminds me of Josh Allen more than AR. DJ Lagway, very fun prospect. He's currently at the University of Florida, 2027 draft prospect, so he will not be draft eligible this year. DJ is going to be a player that I can't wait to see just how the next year and a half develops. Now, the reality is, because DJ Lagway is a black athletic quarterback that also plays at Florida that at times misses wildly, is going to get Anthony Richardson comparisons, but he's a much better player than Anthony Richardson was. So I don't know about the Josh, just because Josh is such a lofty comparison. But I like DJ Lagway a lot, and I really can't wait to see how the next year and a half plays out. All right. Ever since CJ low-broed Caleb, they've both been sheiks. Yeah, that was another part where, honestly, I think the CJ little-broing Caleb was, honestly, I thought it was a little overrated. I very much thought it was, hey, he's just trying to tell him to keep his chin up. I mean, that game, what's not remembered now from that mic'd up clip is Caleb took a beating that game. Caleb was sacked 68 times as a rookie. He was sacked a lot in that game. I know Daniil Hunter absolutely drilled him one time from the blind side. And look, what I took from it was CJ was just like, hey man, times are tough. Keep your head up. I don't think CJ was trying to mean it from a, like, you'll get on my day you'll get on my level one day, little bro. Keep it up, young man. And or buddy is a way to emasculate somebody. I don't think he was saying like, hey, get him next time, buddy. I don't think he was trying to do it like that. So at least I never took it like that, but that's just me. All right. Let's see here. It's changed my profile picture to the Retro Bowl. I'm going to be honest, I can't see your actual profile picture, but I'm going to take it as a compliment in the best way. I hope so. All right. Here's a good question, by the way. Top 5 prospects in the 2026 draft. Definitely Ruben Bain. I would say Mekhi Lemon. I would say those are 2 of 5. It's Ty Simpson. I mean, he might go top 5. We'll see. And then there's also Fernando Mendoza, the Mendozer. He's up there. There's a lot. I mean, there's a lot of good prospects. And the Arnell, is it Arnell Reese? I think, yes. Arvell Reese. I was having a brain fart. I was thinking Carnell Tate, and then anyway. Those are, look, this is a really fun draft class, man. This is a really fun draft class. And then honestly, Keldrick Falk from Auburn, I think, because of how good Ruben Bain is, it's kind of getting pushed down. But Anthony Ramirez, and that's not an official, by the way. I don't have my 2026 big board going. That's not official, but I love this class. Anthony Ramirez is my Pookie Spencer Rattler in trouble after one game. Appreciate the super chat. I don't think so. Maybe if he has 3 bad games in a row, I would say Spencer Rattler's on a 2-game basis right now. It was not an ideal outing for Spencer Rattler against the Bears, but positive spin. The Bears defensive coordinator is Dennis Allen. He obviously coached Rattler last year and might have known a lot of tendencies from Rattler, might have just been in his head before the game started. Not been in his head, but just known things and that Rattler does that other coaches don't. So I would say 2 games, because I feel like at some point for the Saints, you drafted Tyler Shuck 40th overall. I feel like you're going to at least want to see what you have there. You don't want to just waste a top 40 pick on a backup that never plays. But all right. Let's see here. Dominique Howard, gun to the ref, said, who do they pick, SGA or Mahomes? I'm a football channel. It's probably better in my business's best interest to say SGA and not talk about that. Although I do think refs should be full-time employees. All right. Do I think Drake May can win MVP this year? I would say not this year. Unless he goes on a complete tear, I just feel like not this year. Mahomes is having a good year. Josh Allen can win at any time. I feel like it's a year early for Drake May, but unless he goes on a big tear. Deny Dennis Sutton from Penn State. I do like him a lot. I don't know about top 5 in the class, but I like him a lot. All right. Nate, appreciate it. I have Travion Henderson in my Dynasty League. Do you think he breaks out? If so, when? Honestly, you're at the point. So to answer the question directly, I would say yes, he will break out. I don't know when, but the Patriots and Mike Vrabel place a huge emphasis on pass pro, and right now Travion's not the best in pass pro, so I don't think he's going to get as much PT as he probably should, given how high he was drafted, and I also wouldn't trade him because you're not going to get anything of value for him, at least for the player you think he can be. So you got to hold. All right, Shady Luke says, N'Kobe back, Nolan Smith coming back, and BG back. I think the Eagles' defense and rush defense mainly is going to improve. I honestly would not put that much stock in Brandon Graham, although I definitely would put stock in Nolan Smith coming back, but not necessarily BG at this point. Corey, who is a member of the channel, sent a super chat, then retracted his message. So, Corey, I will be paying attention for what the super chat was. Jared, my thoughts on Kellen Moore is I think he's fine as a head coach. There's play calling that I've seen that's been good from Kellen Moore. I really liked the game plan that he had against the Patriots, and I thought Rattler played a good game. But I mean, it's year one of a rebuild. I think he's fine himself. So you can retract. I guess you can retract the message, but that's what comes up on mine is that Corey retracted the message. All right. Let's see. So I see this. I gotta like really zoom in here, or I gotta really like move my head. So let me see this here. All right. I appreciate the super chat, and I will actually. I don't know if it looks like me, but I can see it to a degree. But I appreciate the super chat. Let's see here. How would you grade every first-year head coach so far? So I'm gonna be honest. I want to every time somebody asks like a ranking or this or that, I want to there's always somebody I forget. Like there's always somebody I forget. So let me look up 2025 first-year head coaches and then go from there. Because obviously we're gonna have Ben Johnson, we're gonna have Kellen Moore. All right, first-year head coaches, or these are with the new teams, because Mike Vrabel is, like, not a first-year coach, but he is with the Patriots. So, all right, Mike Vrabel, I would say A+. Liam Cohen, I would say probably an A-. Pete Carroll, D-, F, somewhere in there. Probably F. Kellen Moore. I'd probably say, because Kellen doesn't have a lot to work with, I would... B-. I'd say somewhere in there. And then is that everybody? I think that is everybody. Just those 5, right? Did I miss? Oh, Aaron Glenn. Sorry. That's, I would say an F, unfortunately, as much as I want. Oh, and Brian Schottenheimer, I would also say, honestly, I'd probably go an A- or an A for Schottenheimer. Did I not say Ben Johnson? I thought I did. Did I not give a grade to Ben Johnson? I would probably say an A- for Ben Johnson. That's just off the top of my head. This may be a video. This may be a video topic. So you guys may have inspired a video. And by the way, speaking of grading, there is a video tomorrow. It will be out for members only tonight. I'll upload it tonight when I'm done here. But there will be a video tomorrow out, 10 a.m. Eastern. Members only, or members of the channel will be able to watch the video tonight, that will be grading free agent signings midway through their first season with their teams. So, all right. So I'm actually looking forward to that one. And then you guys can probably do the math and then realize that grading rookies midway through their first year will be out next Saturday. All right. Aaron Glenn gets an F- His players have not bought in at all. So I have thought about doing a video. I don't know if I want to do it midway through the year or at the end of the season, like week 16, week 17. Basically the most right and wrong takes that I've had heading into the year. And I would include just an entire, like I said, the entire video on that. And I would include the Jets for one of the takes that I was so wrong on. And my frustration with the Jets and Aaron Glenn is we're at a point in the year where it's just kind of laughable whatever happens at the presser every week. Because last week, after the loss to the Broncos, it was something to the effect of he didn't think Justin Fields played bad. It was a borderline offensive question to ask if he thought he was going to bench him. The next week he benches him. It's always something with the Jets. And my biggest thing why I thought it was not going to be the same old Jets, which was actually what I titled the Jets preview, was this is not going to be the same old Jets, was I'm really big on culture within locker rooms. And look at the Dolphins right now. The Dolphins' culture right now is horrendous. It's not a coincidence that they're a losing team. They just got beat by 25 points by another 1-5 team. And you have guys regularly missing meetings, showing up late to meetings, not going to player-only meetings because they don't have enough respect for their leader, who would be Tua Tagovailoa. And there's a reason the Dolphins are where they are, right? So what I was thinking was, with the Jets, you have Aaron Glenn, a player who played for this team. You have a coach that saw firsthand what it means with Dan Campbell and everybody buying in over the past couple of years, that he's going to copy and paste the culture from the start that, hey, look, times are going to be tough this year. We know that. We know the Jets roster isn't great, but we're going to fight to the end every single week. And a lot of the times this year, Glenn's coached bad. He's coached scared. He's coached not to win. And that's where it was just, I never would have thought that it would be this bad with the Jets this early. But all right. With culture in the locker room, I think you're undervaluing what BG brings. I hope so. I mean, the Eagles need as much help as they can from a pass rushing standpoint. What do I think for the future for Mike McDaniels is? Blank check for an offensive coordinator job next year, wherever he wants. That has an opening, like wherever he wants. Mike McDaniels is still a really good offensive mind, just not cut out to be a head coaching job, or a head coach at least right now. All right, let's see here. Will Travis Hunter fall into the Kyle Pitts category? Not saying he's been disappointing, but the Jags have not utilized him, and I feel like if he can be the next big if man. So with Travis Hunter, and this will actually be, there's a video that I'm going to do Saturday discussing some rookies. I don't want to spoil the whole video, but I've just been frustrated with the usage with the Jags and the plan that they've had with him. So will he fall into the Kyle Pitts category? Honestly, I would say no, but Travis Hunter is not close right now to where Kyle Pitts was as a rookie. Kyle Pitts had 1,000 yards as a rookie. He was the second tight end in 60 years to have 1,000 yards at the tight end position. The other was Mike Ditka back in 1961. Kyle Pitts did it in 2021. Obviously, in 2021, Brock Bowers had not did it yet because he did it in 2024. So, Travis Hunter right now is not where Kyle Pitts was. But, oh, this is just a tremendous comment here. This is from the username Blumpkin. They said, "Hey, what's up? What's up? How you doing?" That's an incredible username. Just leave it at that. All right, Aaron Glenn, more likely Aaron fired by week 10. Look, there's a chance, man. There's a chance. Maybe not by week 10, but definitely one and done. All right. By the way, if you guys are enjoying the stream, please like the stream. I would very much appreciate it. We're at 55 likes. Let's get it up. Let's get it up to 100. Let's get it up to the big one. Wait, let me go left or right. Is this left? 100. There we go. All right. Shady Luke, appreciate it. It's laughable. Some NFL fans think McDaniels doesn't run a good offense. Give him a better QB and a good O-line and get back to me. I'm with you. No, I'm with you. I mean, the thing is people forget. I would say, I think there's this. People have been tossing this around at me on Twitter. I think it's the people have memory of a goldfish. Is that like, I think that's the short-term memory. But there's the, people just forget that a couple of years ago, they were calling the Dolphins offense the greatest show on surf. Tua led the NFL in passing yards. Tua's a train wreck right now. But do you think it's a coincidence Mike McDaniel had Tua lead the NFL in passing yards? I mean, Chris Greer's been his general manager the whole time. So, it's, Mike McDaniel is going to be a great OC somewhere. How do people know the memory of a goldfish if they can't talk? Look, I don't know that. I'm just saying what gets tweeted at me, and I'm just saying that that's all. All right. Give Josh Allen an OC like McDaniels. We're scoring 40 a night. Honestly, wouldn't doubt it. I need to know. What are your thoughts on my Bucs after the loss on Monday? You're my favorite, by the way. Appreciate that. Thank you. So, look, it's a tough situation just because of the injury, the Mike Evans injury. You also have the Kalijah Cansey injury, the Cody Mock injury. and then you run into a buzzsaw. Somebody did ask earlier, like probably 20 minutes ago, and I forgot to answer, but it was something to the effect, is Jahmyr Gibbs the most exciting player in the NFL to watch? He's certainly up there. He reminds me a lot of a young Chris Johnson. But I still think the Bucs can win the division. I feel like if you don't think the Bucs can win the division at this point, they're 5-2. The Panthers are 4-3. The Panthers' inconsistency scares me. I would take the Bucs a couple of players down before I would say, hey, I think the Panthers are going to, beat the Bucs with the season on the line. That's just me. Maybe you feel different. But I still think the Bucs can win the NFC South. Mike Evans can still return. The Bucs' upcoming schedule is at the Saints, which they can win. Then they have a bye, and then they play home against the Patriots. They can win. It's going to be tough, but they can win that. At Buffalo will be tough. At the Rams will be tough. But then they have home against the Cardinals, Saints, and Falcons. And then at the Panthers, at Dolphins, home against the Panthers. So the Bucs can still win 11, 12 games. Maybe not 12, but 10, 11 games. So Bucs, as long as they get to the playoffs, anything can happen. All right. Let's see here. Corey, appreciate it. So Corey retracted the super chat earlier, and then he sends a $10. So appreciate the 10-piece, Corey. Appreciate the dime, the Hamilton, the Ted. I'll just stop with and just get to the comment. Much love from a West Virginia transplant in SoCal. Hypothetically, I might like to join you someday. Hypothetically, not the West Virginia transplant. I'd be a Maryland transplant, but hypothetically. Loved watching my Colts whoop LA. Love the content. Go Colts. For the shoe. I added for the shoe. Indiana Jones taking us to the bowl. Bought his jersey last night for my collection. JT for MVP. Well, I appreciate the support. And I'd also be eager to hear like what part of West Virginia you're from. Because I do live in Maryland, which is obviously, next to West Virginia. But I'd be eager to hear. Shout out Tyson Bajan, who's also from West Virginia. Shepherd University. Go Rams. But I appreciate the support. And like I said, I couldn't be happier for Daniel Jones. And to go back to the video that I may make at the end of the year, the most right and wrong takes, the Colts would also by far be one of the takes that I was most wrong on entering this year. I sat in this, not in this very chair because I did change chairs within the past couple of months, but I sat in this spot, different chair at the time, and was just basically like, you got to go with AR. Daniel Jones, we know what he is. If you start Daniel Jones, you're kind of punting on the year. Could not have been more wrong. Very happy for the Colts. And I'll tell you what also, by the way, this is just my personal, I hate when people do this. If you have a wrong take, just say these 3 words. I was wrong. And move on. Just move on. I was wrong and move on. I was wrong about Daniel Jones. But what really irritates me is when analysts and other people that have big media jobs just quadruple and quintuple down that, oh no, this is going to happen. Just say you're wrong and move on. Daniel Jones, tremendous year. Couldn't be happier for him. Love the success he's having. Appreciate the super chat from Peach Pear Apple. If I had to rank those fruits, it would definitely be apple, pear, peach, by the way. Not a big peach guy. That definitely gets people riled up. I'm not a big peach guy. But anyway, Dolphins, Denver, 70-20 game changed fortunes of both teams. It definitely did. And that was a wild game. Obviously, 70 points. Look, it's one thing if you put up 50. 50's a lot. 50 burgers a lot. 60 lobster is a lot. 70 is, I don't even know what that is. 70 is a lot. And after that, like we said, the greatest show on surf, the Dolphins are here. But it was, in some ways, just a great thing to have happen to the Broncos because it's been, you talk about the lowest of lows, you get beat by 50 on the road. And it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows since, but they've definitely, on the way back or on the way up. But a Jets fans, it's 84. Appreciate it. It doesn't matter who coaches or plays for us. The curse is real. I'm sorry, Void. You obviously have a lot of years on me. I was not around in 84, so you obviously have the experience there on me. But I don't even know what to say, man. Other than I'm sorry. But those 2 years in 09 and 10 with Rex, 2009 Revis, that was fun. That was awesome. And I remember I was in middle school whenever they beat the Patriots in the playoffs. And I was on a family vacation somewhere in January. And the energy around, we were at dinner, the energy around the it wasn't like a sports bar, but there was a TV in the place. The energy around the place whenever, like, holy language, the Jets are beating the Patriots, it was wild. Anyway. Let's see here. What is your favorite part about doing these streams? Interacting with everybody. Look, here's the deal, right? My favorite part is just people that, I mean, there's almost 300 people listening to me talk about football right now. Like that is 6 years ago. I was in college, and I mean, I don't want to make like a, a biography story, not a biography, but like a story about the rise, if you will. But I used to wake up in the middle of the night in college, and this was when I had less than 1,000 subscribers. I used to wake up and I'd go to bed, and I would remember the number, whether it was like 212 subscribers or 214. And I used to wake up, and if I picked up 2 subscribers overnight, I was like, let's go, man. Like we're making it. So to be able to sit here now and to casually stream on a Wednesday night with a couple of hundred people watching is humbling. And that is by far my favorite part. To be able to sit here and to read a comment like, hey, let's see here. Just from Micah, he says, where would you think Anthony Richardson would have the best chance of flipping his career around? Or from Andrew, who says, I love watching your streams. I know you like Breaking Bad. And just comments that you can just go off of and just have a conversation and build a community that's my favorite part, is that. And it's very humbling, and I try to never forget that. And I actually, I don't see if I can get my leg or if I can get my leg up here. So I actually have the word grateful tattooed on my leg, and it's just because of just growing up with, I grew up in a good situation, and I'm very grateful for that, and also very grateful for this. Caden Hunt, welcome to the Next Level Analyst. Appreciate you being a member. New member alert. Appreciate it, Caden. All right, and there were a couple of other things so actually go back to this. I like Better Call Saul. I did like Better Call Saul. Not gonna lie, I liked Breaking Bad more. The very first season of Better Call Saul, the first 5 episodes, the first episode was great, but episodes 2 through 5, I was like, oh boy, this is a tough watch. But Better Call Saul got a lot more interesting as the show progressed. Micah says, where would you think AR would have the best chance of flipping his career around? I would love for him to go to the Rams. All right. Corey Gates, Parkersburg, right on the border of Ohio. Okay, so there's actually, I saw this thing one time, and it was basically the way to show the state of West Virginia is you have the it's basically you flick someone off, because you have I'll do it with 2 fingers, but you have the panhandle, you have the panhandle over here, and then the big part up here, and then, yeah, so that would be up in that area. But anyway, that is cool. All right, do I think the Steelers can pull off a win Sunday night? I do. The Packers are not unbeatable. Aaron Rodgers has been playing better. They did just put up 30 points. And I do think that there is some truth to... I'm such a subscriber to the belief that playing 2 division games in 5 days is so disadvantageous. And I wasn't surprised last year when the Steelers lost to the Browns against Jameis in the snow game. And I wasn't surprised to see them lose to the Bengals. With Joe Flacco, it didn't surprise me, because it's so disadvantageous to teams. All right. Been here for 2 years. Best takes in football. I appreciate that, okay? I appreciate that. All right. Whose seat is hotter, Bean or McDermott? Oh, man. Right now, I would say none if they lose in the playoffs again. Here's the deal. If they lose to the playoffs again to the Chiefs and fall to 0-5 in this era, fair or not, I feel like you have to move on. So I would say nobody's seat is hot right now, but I would say McDermott's if I had to choose one. All right. Do you think BTJ struggles are short-term or something more concerning? Everybody goes, look, there's a personal aspect behind everybody. BTJ is, let me think I want to word this here. I think he'll be fine in the long run. Next year, I think he would be fine, but there's ebbs and flows of every season. And one thing that I did point out heading into this year, I guess you could say I was right on this. One of the right takes was that I thought there would be a bit of a transition period with BTJ this year because a lot of his production last year came with Mac Jones as the quarterback. And Trevor Lawrence is so Jekyll and Lawrence where you never know what you're going to get from him on a week-to-week basis, sometimes even a play-by-play basis. So I think BTJ will be fine. The drops are not ideal, obviously, but I don't think BTJ would be a one-year wonder. I think he'll be fine. All right. Let's keep it going here. Are Vikings hiding McCarthy? No. I mean, no. If Rodgers wins and has another 4-touchdown game, is he an MVP convo? Probably mid-season, but I don't think he would actually win. But that's just me. All right. What's the panic button if the Vikings lose tomorrow? I would say pretty low, just because they're going to get JJ back soon, and he's going to probably start next Sunday against the Lions. So I would say low. Thoughts on many domes, stadiums, like Bofa and Min, but good usage of the word Bofa there, by the way. That's a good usage of the word Bofa, by the way. It's not an acronym, but anyway, it could be an onomatopoeia, but anyway. All right, look, I'm not a fan of the dome stadiums. I want there to be a game like we just had in Cleveland last week. I want that. Like, I want football weather. You know, if Pittsburgh ever built a dome, I'd be disappointed. I'd be very disappointed because I want there to be football. I'm glad Buffalo is keeping their stadium open. So I'm not a huge fan of every team going to a dome stadium. Some of them make sense. The Lions forever. I mean, maybe back in like the 40s or whatever. Maybe they didn't have an outdoor stadium, but they had the Silver Dome, then they had Ford Field. The Vikings had the Metrodome, then they have US Bank Stadium. Some of them just make sense. But the Browns going to a dome, I can't say I'm a fan of that one. That one actually like really frustrates me. No turf, I would also agree, no turf. Bears and Browns, yeah, the Bears need to play outdoors. They need to play outdoors. Chicago going to an indoor stadium doesn't sit right with me. Call me a boomer, I don't like that one. But that will wrap up tonight's stream, so hopefully you guys enjoyed, and like I said, I will be posting a video probably by 11 p.m. area, I don't know, but it'll be out tonight for members only, and then it'll be out at 10 a.m. Eastern tomorrow, and it'll be grading free agent signings from this cycle so far. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. Please like the stream if you did. I greatly appreciate everybody who watched and of course everybody who sent super chats. So that is, again, greatly appreciated. Hopefully you guys are having a great day. If you're not, hopefully this took some time away from whatever you may be going through, because everybody's always going through something. But that'll wrap it up. So until next time, as always, please be safe and have a great day. Love you guys.